Hello everybody, welcome back to the stream. Is everything good? Wait a minute. I think we're good. I was recording a video, which will hopefully be out sometime soon. Of course, Patreon members and YouTube members will get access to the video before everyone else. But I don't know, maybe it'll be out sometime next week. But anyway, I think we're all good. So I'm just going to continue on with the card inspector update. I've been gradually, I didn't have a whole lot of time this afternoon, but I've just been gradually updating it. So we've got shaded top part here. We've got the vertical and horizontal bars shaded as well. I also did some additional work to just kind of create more shadow around, I don't know what you would call these, like the joining parts. So it gives it like that increased shadow, just kind of gives it a little bit of a grungier look, I guess you could say. There is a problem here though. Did I forget to do a side? Wait, why is this not? I might have forgotten to do a side. Hold on a second. Why does that look incorrect? Oh, you know what? Why does that look incorrect? Hold on a second. I'm going to say hi to everyone real soon. I just got to figure out. Oh, because it's not using the 9 slice correctly. There we go. Now we've got the proper shadow. I'm glad I caught that. Let me just check the stone vertical as well. I just make sure everything is nice and good to go. See, this one's wrong too. Look at that. Good thing I checked that. All right. Now we are golden. Now we are golden, pony boy. Okay, anyway, so yeah, we just got to do some more highlighting and stuff, shading and whatnot. Of course, the bottom one here needs to be shaded. I also want to maybe add some additional design work into here just to fill in some of the gaps, although maybe not. That might be okay. And then, of course, these little decorative parts, which I still might want to see if I can figure out something else. And then I want to redraw these little gemstone, I don't know what you would call them, decorative elements. But anyway, hello, Ninja Link. Welcome back. Good to see you. Hello, Straight Pointer. Good to see you as well. Hello, Vinny. Hey, you can't stream now. I'm watching a video of some guys roasting Starfield. There's plenty of material there, right? GTA 6 extended look reaction video. My hot take on GTA 6 is that it's basically going to be GTA 5. There you go. You heard it here first, folks. You heard it here first. As I'm learning Godot, it feels like signals are easy to get messy. Trying to keep my signal centered in an event bus class like observer pattern by IDK. Do you make heavy usage of it? Signals sometimes feel like workarounds to make things interact. Yeah, so signals are basically events, right? And you may want to signal that something has happened when you don't really care what happens in response to that, right? So I may, let's see. Like if some currency value in my game changes, I may want to signal that out and just say, hey, whoever wants to listen for the currency change value, that's fine. I don't care, right? So the things basically just become responsible for saying, okay, like when my internal state changes, I can notify anyone who wants to listen of that internal state change. Now, the problem that you're encountering is that you might need to have some kind of game flow or something critical happen as a result of a signal. And then it feels like it becomes less of a signal, less of like just a event that you can just plug and play or ignore if you want to, and more of something that's like critical to the game. And so, yes, you can elevate that into like a global signal manager, right? And I do that. I make use of that pattern. Like these are all of my global signals, right? And this can become very hard to manage for sure, if you're not careful. So that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is just to not use signals at all and just to do things in a more top-down manner, or do things in a way where it's more controlled. So instead of signaling out a state change from some node or for some scene that you have, you might instead just expose like a public API to get some information from it on demand, right? So you might have like a manager that holds a reference to this node that you're going to need to reach into and ask for data all the time, and then you can just call a method on it to get whatever data you need. So yeah, it can get messy, especially if you're trying to coordinate. I would say that if you're getting into the situation where you need to coordinate like a more complex game flow just by using signals, that's going to get really messy, right? Signals are ideal for like small little events that you may or may not want to listen for in certain contexts, but that aren't really critical for like the core flow of the game. But that's a judgment call. It's hard to tell just from, starting to work on something whether that's going to be the case or not. So yeah, but they can get a little bit unwieldy sometimes. Hello, Celestial General. Welcome. I would pay for a GTA 1 remake. My favorite hobby now is people roasting Starfield. Never gets old. Do the items emit a signal when they act and when the board handles them? No. So this is a situation where I avoided signals because trying to get everything to coordinate with signals would have been really hard, right? Because the problem is you don't really have, with signals, you're like not guaranteed when something is going to happen from a signal. And what I mean by that is like, so a signal being emitted is a one-to-many relationship, right? You've got one signal on your item and it could have an indefinite number of listeners, right? But then you might have another item that's going to emit another signal based on a response to that signal. And so now you've got like multiple bounces, right? And if you're trying to coordinate that, if you're trying to like in some kind of like central game logic, trying to like, okay, I got this signal first, now I need to wait for this signal from this completely unrelated thing to come through. Like that is creating a bunch of indirection that makes it really hard to trace the flow of logic through the system. So my approach for doing my cards is it's very top down. It's more of like an orchestrator where I have a turn manager, and the turn manager basically it calls. So, I mean, I don't know how deep I should go into this system. Basically, it's entirely top down. So the game system says, okay, we're starting combat now. Okay, the timer has ended for 1 tick, and a tick is 0.1 seconds of real time in the game. And everything is based off of ticks. So if something has a 1 second cooldown, it's on the 10th tick, it executes, right? So the turn manager goes, okay, we're gonna wait 0.1 seconds. Okay, now we're gonna process a tick after that. And a tick is basically just, okay, we're gonna grab the player board first, and we're gonna call the execute abilities method on each item in a very particular order. Okay, and then once all the player cards are done executing, now we're gonna hop over to the enemy board and we're gonna find all of the enemy items that have no cooldown remaining, so it's their turn to go. And we're gonna execute all of those in a very particular order, right? And so it's basically just a giant loop every tick that just finds everything that's supposed to execute and then calls it in the order that it's supposed to execute. And then I have various methods for like, modifying what happens during the execution flow. The abilities are all being executed essentially ultimately from that one central manager. Now there's multiple layers of abstraction there, so that the item manager or the turn manager, it doesn't actually have to know anything about what the abilities are on each item, because there's enough level of abstractions that separate the turn manager, which is basically managing the ticks, from individual ability executions. There's like 4 or 5 layers of abstraction between those two things happening, but it's all like you can trace the logic very cleanly through it. Like nothing during combat happens without ultimately being induced or triggered by that turn manager, right? So instead of relying on all these multiple things to tell the turn manager like what to do, it flips it, right? It's the turn manager telling everything what to do. Like, it's your turn now. Okay, it's your turn now. Okay, it's your turn now, right? And that ends up being a lot easier to reason about and control there's a lot less potential for unintended things happening. That kind of thing. Hello, Artem. Do you prefer simple payload for signals as args, or create a class for it and use the class object as payload? Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like, if it's only a handful of arguments, then I might just put the 2 or 3 arguments in the signal emission, right? But sometimes I might have like a lot of context that I want to pass along, and also that context object may grow at some point. So this is something that I did quite frequently on Gunforged, right? So I had an event-based system that basically, like, for example, if a bullet collided with an enemy, I would emit an event that said, okay, bullet collided with enemy. And then the object that was passed along as an argument with that signal emission, which is what I'm calling an event, was a context object that just had like, I don't know, probably like 10 different fields, or maybe a dozen different fields. And as the development went on, I kept adding information to that context object. Well, the nice thing about using a context object like that is because when you do add stuff, when you add extra information from it, you don't need to change all the places where that signal is connected to, right? So everything that's already connected to the signal continues to work. You just add new information to the context object, and they can opt into reading or working with that information if they want, or they can keep just working as they were working, right? So it depends, but sometimes it's useful to pass like a whole bunch of data at the same time, and so that's where I would use like a context object or something. Hello, Neozoid, welcome. Clickertail, good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Alrighty. Oh, this one's gonna be a pain in the rear. Let's do the panel first. This one's going to be a little bit easier. Yeah, I still don't know if I'm going to change this though, so I'll have to see. Perfect. Okay, panel. Maybe it would be helpful to put the reference in here. Oh, you know what I'm realizing? The lighting is not going to be consistent if I do that. We're going to have to do this a little bit differently. There we go. And we'll break this up a little bit better as we go along. How do I want to do this? Maybe something like that. Okay. Well, that should be all right. So the lighting actually has to be slightly different. Yeah, I think that's fine. We'll just see how that looks. Doesn't really matter that much. And I may want to highlight these all differently, actually. So let's do this. That. Don't want to make it too much. That there. I think that works. Okay, let's see how that looks. Export layers. I may redraw this art anyway, so I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on it, but we'll just get something in there so it looks all right. And it didn't work. Exported one layer. Well, I don't believe you. Oh, this was called... What was this called? Theme... Panel container, card inspector, panel inner decoration. I'm actually going to... Now hold up a minute. We're going to get rid of this. Panel, it's just called panel. This one, delete, remove. Okay. And then we want to actually do... I'm getting lost. Export layers, there we go. There we go. That doesn't look too bad with the highlighting. Can't really complain. So we got to do these ones too, and then we got to do this one. All right, it's getting there. Amazing what a little bit of shading can do though. Amazing what a little bit of shading can do. Okay, shade panel inner decoration. Watching the new GTA 6 trailer. When will you make GTA 7? Hello, HiveB, welcome. I came to the object as payload and extended version of your survival arena game. I started to add effects to the weapon and damage type so the signal payload began to grow and I wrap it. Yeah, that's just generally a good idea. If you have something that you think is going to grow and your argument list is already like really long, then yeah, just wrapping it in an object is a great way to... You reduce it down to one argument and then extending that object basically just becomes like a... It becomes like a no-op change for everywhere that doesn't care about it, right? So you don't break any existing signal connections, but whatever's going to connect that signal to use that new information can just go ahead and use it. So yeah, I'm a big fan of doing that. I should open up the Gunforged code again and see if I remember what is even going on there. Stats window, here we go. Oh, so this one is going to be a little bit tricky actually because it's going to have to tile. So what I'll do is I'll actually copy this over into a new thing and then I'll do view tiled mode x-axis because I want to see like how the shading is going to look going across. So let's do that. Just fill in the background there. All right, so we want to do, I don't know why I'm starting over there. That doesn't make any sense. So yeah, I'm just gonna, basically I just draw everything in this game with the light coming from the top right side. So I just try to keep in mind, you know, what would the light look like if it was hitting all these crevices, right? So like it's gonna hit the inner part here and here and here, but it's gonna hit the outer part there. Like here we would have probably a highlight of some kind, right? And then down in here, and then this inner part there. And probably want to, do I want to go and do like this? Now see that flips now, right? So like it's not going to highlight this side. I may just, I'll break that up later. Let's just do a solid line there for now. So something like that gives a little bit of depth. We might want to do something along this side as well. And then, yeah, maybe I do want to make this a little bit thicker here. Actually, I wonder if I should remove that. Yeah, that actually looks better. Okay, and then up here, do something like this maybe. Yeah, that works. And then here, kind of the same deal. This side probably needs some highlighting. So you can see that we've got like a good impression of depth now, right? So the only remaining thing to do really is to just figure out what to do with these corner pieces here. And actually, I may end up doing something like that. Let's see. Well, we'll just have to see how it looks ultimately. We can break this up now. Like that. I really don't know. What do I want to do with this part? Actually, I think that looks kind of good. Yeah. Honestly, this might be okay. This might be okay, and we just go ahead and add little highlights in, you know, just try to identify like what the brightest spots would be, and just go ahead and slap some brighter red pixels there. Oh, we should break up this one as well. Yeah, that'll work. I don't like that. I think that's basically it. I don't really know if I need to do much else here. I could maybe thicken this part up a little bit. See, I tried to thicken it up and it didn't actually end up doing much, so just bring that back down. I think I do want to make that a little bit more aggressive here, though. Yeah. I think that's basically it. See, the problem here, though, is that this looks a little bit too noisy, so I'm actually going to redo this one. I don't want to make it look too noisy. I might just do one clean line there. This side doesn't have any of the highlights. Again, this might be too noisy, so I'll just make that more solid. I think that's the biggest problem with pixel art is like you have this desire to add more detail thinking that it's going to make it look better. But a lot of times the extra detail is actually just bad for the clarity. So I put that there now. Then I export this. We can see what that looks like. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. This part up here is a little bit solid. So what I could do potentially if I wanted to is I could maybe just cut some of this out a little bit. Maybe I should put, like I might just see what this looks like if I just cut that out a bit. And then the benefit of doing that is I can add extra highlights there. Actually, I don't want the symmetry on for that. I can do something like this and then put like one there and one there. So we'll see what that looks like. Now we gotta wait for it to export. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that looks bad. I think what I would do is maybe just axe another pixel there. Oops. Yeah. Yeah, I think that looks good. All right, let's see what it looks like in game. Look at that. I think we're looking pretty good. I think we're looking pretty good. So just this last part now. Just trying to think. The sun is in my eyes. Go away, sun. Very helpful video about editor scripts I started using a lot for my game. Awesome. Glad it could help. Add more coffee. Hello. Oh, it's time for game dev art once again. Is that Jackie Daytona? Welcome. Hello, Fork. Good to see you. By the way, I'm making a pixel font drawing tool. I can share a link in Discord, but it doesn't have export yet. Yeah, feel free. Feel free to share it. Alrighty, we just have this one to do now. I think I was going to add more detail to it, but I actually think I'm not going to do that. Okay, bottom cap. All right, this is going to be quite a lot of effort, but... Oh, and it's not going to be... Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to shade the middle one, and then I'll just copy paste. And then what I'll do is if I have the energy, I will go and like, instead of making it all look uniform, I will... What am I trying to say? I'll like randomize, not randomize, but apply different shading. So I'm going to copy and paste this one. Actually, I don't know if I like this either. I wonder if I should just make this like that. Yeah, I think I am going to do that. So we'll cut that out. I'm going to cheat a little bit. Okay. That looks okay. Okay. How far out do I need to go? I guess I need to kind of copy. Oh boy. There we go. Yeah, I'm gonna need to really make sure that I copy this correctly. These statues are kind of fun. Well, son of a biscuit. I think I like that better too. Okay. So now the question is, did I copy enough? Or did I draw enough for it to be copyable now? Let's see. This one here is a little bit weird. Yeah, we'll just have to try it, I guess. Actually, I don't know. No, see, I already did that side. So do I just copy? Can I just grab all this? I don't know. Let's see. So if I do Control B. Oh, did I copy a background too? Guess it doesn't matter. Hee hee. I love cheating. Okay, awesome. I hope I did that correctly. I hope I did not fudge anything up, as some might say. Let's just grab from here to here. Oh, I grabbed the wrong thing. I need to grab from like here to here. Oh, I grabbed one too far. That's okay. And then this side over here is kind of the same issue, actually. Nice. Very cool. It is Jack. You just renamed the YouTube account. Gotcha. What do you use to draw? You got any specific hardware? Just the mouse. This is a Keychron M6. Ew, my mouse is a little bit oily. Gross. It's just a Keychron M6, but yeah, I'm not doing anything special. I just use the mouse, that's all. All right, I'm just gonna start highlighting this now. And then I will, just update things as I see fit. But I think this should actually turn out pretty good. I'm pretty confident about this. So we just kind of highlight everything. I actually don't know how to highlight this one. That's probably all right. Dope. This is actually turning out pretty good. So I could copy and paste again if I was really lazy, but I think where I can make it look different in terms of the highlighting is by changing just where I'm putting the actual highlight colors, right? So I've got like the light color, which is the purple. Got the purple light color, but these actual highlights, if I do these a little bit differently every time, I think it will just help with breaking up the visual, I don't know, the copy pastiness of it, if that makes sense. And you know what I might do actually, before I go too far on this, is just as a quick check, I may export this. Oh, we got some problems here. Rid of those. And then this needs to be there. Okay. So just as a quick check, I'm going to export this and see if that looks all right in the context of everything else. Because I would hate to spend a bunch of time on this and then like, oh, it's not going to work, right? I would say that that works. Holy dang, dude, you're crazy. I mean, that is a compliment. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, it's like I've said before, a lot of work went into practicing pixel art. So I'm very glad that you guys appreciate my art. That makes me feel like my effort was worth it. Yeah, that looks really cool. I like that little detail down there. I like these little details because like they're not like super in your face, but if you take the time to look at them, it's like, oh, that's actually pretty cool. Like there's like a little guy here in the top of the stash. there's like a little silhouette of a person. But if you were never looking at that, you would never notice that, right? Or down here, like this just space filler. Oh, you can't really see it that well. This part right here, it's just a bunch of vines with a rose in the middle. But if you're not paying attention, then you won't notice that, right? Which is fine. I don't need people to notice everything about the game, but I think it's just kind of cool. Like there's just detail that you could look at if you wanted to, but otherwise it's just filling the space. And then I really want to redraw these little gemstones as well. But anyway, I think that's going to work. So let's just continue on with this highlighting. Yep, just working in the art mines. Just working in the art mines. I may have highlighted that exactly the same I did. Unfortunately, these ones are kind of these little base parts. Kind of going to have to highlight those the similar way every time. Otherwise, we'll just lose the shape, kind of. I think the tentacles are kind of the same way. Like, there's not really much I can do differently here without kind of destroying the impression of the shape of the thing. So unfortunately, the tentacles are going to have to be highlighted roughly the same way every time. Just making sure that I'm not missing anything. Yeah, I guess I don't really... Yeah, there's not really a better way to shade that part of the tentacle, unfortunately. That's okay. Almost done. At this point, I could cheat and just copy one of these over, but I'm almost done, so I might as well just finish strong. This part is actually just incredibly tedious. I don't particularly enjoy this part. I keep trying to do something different with these tentacles, but yeah, it doesn't work. It just don't work. That's all right. I mean, I kind of did something a little bit different there, I suppose. All right. Well, there we go. Oh, you know what I'm realizing? I don't think that I adequately separated these things everywhere. Yeah. There. Okay. Now I'm wondering if I should put... Yeah, I probably should. Well... I kind of missed this part, so I'm just plugging that hole a little bit. Okay. Did I do everything correctly? Okay. I feel like this part's a little bit weird. Oh, you know what? It probably needs to be shaded up here. Whatever, I'm not going to worry about that. I'm not going to worry about that. I could just create extra space like this. But no, it's fine. Okay, I think that's good for that part. And I got to do the stone pillars on the side here. Fortunately, those are fairly straightforward, so we're almost done. Admirable, really, thank you. Fellow Keychron enjoyer. Yeah, I'm a Keychron fanboy. Hello, monkey. Welcome back. Anyone want to start chanting demons with me? Demons. This guy's a stream machine. Just saw it's crazy how it looks. Is that crazy in a good way or crazy in a bad way? Could go either way, really. Okay. We can cut that side out so it better matches. We don't need to worry about this side because that's just going to be on the edge of the screen anyway. So yeah, this side needs to be like that. This side needs to be like that. Yeah, I'm a Keychron fanboy. I've got a keyboard by them. I've got a mouse by them. You know, my favorite mouse used to be the Logitech MX Master 3. But I got to like the third one of those because the middle mouse or something kept breaking, and I was like, I can't spend $100 on a mouse every year. And so the Keychron, I was happy to see, basically has an exact copy of the MX Master 3 that is like 60% of the price and has a higher polling rate, so it's better for gaming. I am not paid by Keychron, I regret to inform you, but If Keychron would like to sponsor me at any moment, I will take that money 10 times out of 10. So here what I like to do with the stone parts is just add little cutouts here, just to break it up a little bit. And then I'll do something, you know, just break these up a little bit as well. Make it look not so uniform. And I might add like another break as well. But yeah, that looks good. And then let's just put another break in here somewhere. Let's do something like this. And then what you can do also is just add a little extra highlight there. I think that's basically good. I don't know if there's anything else that I want to do there. Yeah. And so this is what it looks like with a black background. So that's pretty cool. So now what I'll do is I'll just go ahead and export that. And we'll see how it looks in game. Look at that. Dang, that's pretty cool. I like that. All right, so the gems are the next culprit. Those cornerstones needed a little something. Yeah. The scene where Lucia is jumping with a parachute is outstanding. Look at that. That looks great. Very cool. So all of the decorative panel parts are done. So let's just handle the gemstones. I do like the gemstones. You know what I'm thinking also, actually? I'm thinking that's what I thought. What I'm thinking about doing actually is removing the bottom part of these windows and merging these into a single thick pillar. Because I still feel like there's something about this region that's a little bit too noisy, and these little corner decorations might be like, because the whole point I redid this is to reduce the noise somewhat. Like, I think it's worth showing again. So this is the old card inspector UI. And so you could see like how I had thinner borders, but then I had like a lot of nested borders, and that just creates some noise. So the goal of this was to reduce that noise a little bit, which I think I largely succeeded in, but there's still something about up here that looks a little bit too noisy, and I think it's because there's just too many boundaries here. So I think if I make these share a pillar and then get rid of this extra bottom row, that should help with the noise a bit. And then I think the corner pieces here maybe are a little bit too much as well. I think everything else, broadly speaking, looks good though. But let's do the gems first before I do anything with that. Yeah, let's do the gems first. This is kind of out of place too, so I need to... The gems are just like nice little section separators, but there are some situations where I maybe don't want to show them. But let's just work on that right now. Keychron sponsorship for Alchemortis, I wish. Artifact idea, Keychron, your actions permitted are faster now, so is the game speed. I ditched the MS Master 3 on my second one because it keeps getting sticky icky, and Logitech isn't even selling replacements if you're begging. Oh. Yeah, I mean, I liked the ergonomics of that mouse, which is why I got the Keychron M6, which is basically the same shape. But yeah, like Logitech, it's a $100 mouse. It's probably more expensive now. It's a $100 mouse. It's only 125 hertz polling rate, and within a year, the middle mouse button will break. Or I think on the first one I got, I had an issue with like the right click would double right click sometimes, and that was super annoying. So like the Keychron is cheaper, but the thing is, like, I'm not really expecting this. Like I've never really gone a long time without a mouse breaking on me. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's just because I'm a particularly heavy mouse user or something, but spending, you know, $60 every year for a new mouse instead of 120 or whatever it is a lot more palatable. But I do genuinely like the Keychron though. Like even if budget was not a concern, I think I would get this mouse over the MX Master 3 every time. I've had the cheapest wireless mouse keyboard set I could find for 10 years and 60% of the keys have no letters anymore. I also have $30 peripherals. Looking out from the side of the screen, you seem to do this work with passion. It really impresses me. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Lich. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess it's passion. I guess so. I mean, I've just always really enjoyed game development, and I had the opportunity to try to make some money doing it. So I figured might as well try that, and we'll see if it works. And if it doesn't work, then, well, we'll figure out what happens then. But like, I do care about the quality. Like, I'm really trying to put like every ounce of energy and skill I have into this game. And if that's not enough, then it's not enough, right? But the goal is to release this game and to have no regrets about like, oh man, I should have worked on that part harder or whatever, right? Just put everything I have into it, max out my capabilities, and we will see what happens. Lucky for me, mine still have all their letters. Wenn ihr Coden lernen wollt, schaut bei Tob. I don't know how to vorbei. Tobsi. I wish I remembered my German vocabulary, but I don't. When we code, we learn. We shall learn something. When we code, we shall learn something. I don't think it's too noisy. Clear separation is nice for the immediate compartmentalization. Yeah, we'll check it. Like if it ends up being a downgrade, the changes that I'm thinking about making, then, you know, we could just revert it. I think most of the noise comes from the empty black spots. Their eyes are usually drawn to the darkest spots on an image. Okay, interesting. Doesn't work, at least you have something you can be proud of. The game has come a long way, even at its current state, the game rules. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll be proud of it when it releases. Like, this is far and away, like, head and shoulders the best game that I've ever made. And if this is, you know, this is all I have energy or time for, then I will be happy with it. We're gonna redraw the gem, right? So what I want to do is this needs to actually, this gem decoration, this actually just needs to be crunched down like that. Actually, that might be enough. No, it's not enough because I wanted to make it more angular. Like I wanted to make it taller than it is wide. But I did want to see what it looks like if I make it like so that there's one pixel running down the middle, because I think that will fix a lot of the layout alignment stuff. Because it's just a little bit off right now. Yeah, see, now it's perfect, right? So now it's perfectly aligned with this one. See? And it should be perfectly aligned down here as well. Yeah. Excellent. So I definitely want it to be that kind of way. But I want to make it taller than it is wide. So let's think about that. Taller than it is wide. But not too tall, because then it's going to clip into the contents too much. So that might actually be an okay shape there. So we do something like that. We want to leave like an inner black line. See, this might be too thin now because it may not be, I may not be able to communicate very well that this is a gemstone, but I can't say gemstone without thinking of Taric from League of Legends. Yeah, I don't know about that one. But let's just, I don't know, let's just do some shading and see what that looks like. That'll work. Oops. Goodbye. No. Did I forget how to add a layer? Okay. Do a double outline. Why does this look weird? I don't know, whatever. We'll just see how that looks. I don't really know if I like this shape either. Yeah, I think that's too tall now. Also, it just looks a little weird. Let's get rid of the highlights on that left side and see if that looks all right. I think that one just looks weird. Does look a little bit better like that. Oh, you know what part of the problem might be? It may need to be the case that this needs to be 1 pixel in the middle as well. Is that true? Yeah. Okay, hold on a second. Your head and shoulders inspires us all, thank you. The point is 1 less pixel from the rest of the sides, I think. Is it? No, I think it's symmetrical. Okay, well that looks better proportionally, but we'll try a different approach to this one. Honestly, I may just go back to this version. Or maybe keep the height of this. I don't know. How is the art arranged in this scene? Interesting how you're making it piece by piece rather than one set of art. Fairly noobish to game, so curious. Okay, I will explain in detail how the art is laid out in that scene. But first, let me take a quick 3-minute break. I'm gonna get some more water and everything. And then when I come back, I will go into detail about how the art is laid out in that scene, okay? So, and welcome to the stream, by the way, Null Reference Studios. So just give me 3 minutes and then I will explain it. Okay, I'm back. All right, so Null Reference Studios asked, how is the art arranged in the scene? Interesting how you are making it piece by piece rather than one set of art. So let's start with why it's not one set of art. Is because there are several panels in here that are an unknown height or a variable height. So the ability description is one such example. The flavor text is another example. And these ones too, well, these are also another example. So I've got at least, I actually have other panels too, some of them are hidden. So I've got at least 5 different like little panel sections that are completely unknown heights. Like they need to stretch to fit their content, right? So I'll just go ahead and show what that looks like really quick. So we have context. So if I look at the skeleton warrior, you know, I've got these panels here, but then if I go to something more complicated like the fairy ring, you see I've got a lot more content here, right? So those things need to be tileable or stretchable in a way that's dynamic. So that is the main reason why it's being done piece by piece. Now, what I've chosen to do is to divide up these sections. So where do I start? So let's start with like the left and right borders, right? So I knew that I wanted to have stone pillars, this stone pillar here, right, on the left, and this one on the right. But since I don't know the height of the overall container, that also needs to be tileable. So what drives that is this panel container here, which basically is just a texture that contains, well, let's see, theme override style. Oh yeah, so here's a style box texture. So it's using this texture. I don't know if you can see that very well, but this texture here is those 2 side walls essentially. And this is just set up to 9 slice so that I can stretch it to whatever size I want, and those textures will always be on the side. So that is just running down the length of the panel or the container basically. And then to divide across the middle, I actually have separate scenes. I'm calling it stone horizontal. And this stone horizontal here, this is responsible for drawing a horizontal stone pillar essentially with a 9-patch rect, which again is the same concept. You can just slice up a 9-patch rect so that you can define how it tiles when it stretches to an arbitrary size. And then this one is also responsible for rendering that gem root here in the middle of it. So if I want to show that, I can show that. So when I have these different sections that need to be divided vertically, I insert the stone horizontal, right? So we can see that we've got a stone horizontal there, we've got a stone horizontal there, we've got a stone horizontal there. So these are basically the vertical, well, they're horizontal dividers, but they're separating the vertical sections essentially. And because these side pillars here are being taken from the parent panel container, I don't need to worry about that. So really the only thing I'm worried about is placing these at the proper intervals. And then I have a vertical one that's the same deal, right? I may need to divide a section vertically like I'm doing up here. So it's essentially the same concept, but just flipped vertically, right? Okay, so that basically describes like why all these pieces are here. But then we have the top and the bottom caps. These things just exist to add a little bit of extra padding to the top and the bottom just to give breathing room to the panel. And these could have been made tileable too. Like this texture is ultimately tileable across, but I wanted it to be exact. I wanted to control exactly like where the pattern started and where it ended. And so that's why I just chose to bake it in. This is all just one texture, and that's what we were working on just a couple minutes ago, right? And it's the same deal for the top cap here. So basically these detail elements, those are just baked into a texture with the right dimensions. And then the last set of pieces here are these things, right? These stat windows is what I'm calling them. And this could have been rendered as a single texture as well. So there's a million and one ways to do things when you're building a game. I just decided to make these individual textures that are laid out horizontally next to each other for the simple reason that all I need to do is just go in and tweak one texture and then it will update all of these, right? But I could have made these all baked as one texture. And then, you know, I could have treated it the same way as I treat this, right? So anyway, I hope that helps a little bit. So the reason I'm doing it all in pieces is largely just because a lot of these sections have unknown dimensions. They're variable dimensions. And so you need to think more modularly when you're trying to lay out a UI like this. And of course, the challenge is, how do you give it the hand-drawn look when it can change its dimensions to a variable height, right? But what I did do is, like, there are some things like this top decoration. This is not tileable horizontally or vertically. So I did need to decide on like a fixed width for this panel so that I could know what dimensions I needed to draw the top and the bottom caps at. But everything else is designed, except with the exception of these little windows here. Everything else is designed with the idea in mind that it could be an unknown height. And then the rest of it is just scene tree trickery to get all of the art to render in the proper order so that, again, the goal is to make it look like it's a hand-drawn static image when you pop open that drawer, while retaining the flexibility of it, you know, being dynamically sized and whatnot. Yeah, it's all very extensible, yeah. If you have any follow-up questions, I'm happy to answer them. I hope that was a helpful overview, though. But yeah, definitely happy to answer any other questions you might have. Because that kind of thing, like those kinds of UIs can be very tricky to create because there's just a lot going on. And so if I can be helpful, then I can be helpful. I don't really know where I was going with that statement, but that's all right. So here's the thing. I think this is basically like the only... Maybe I should give it some vertical, or yeah, give it some symmetry there. I honestly don't think that this shape is going to work. See, because it ends up being too tall. And the problem is I can't really make it shorter, because if I make it shorter, then I'm going to have like inconsistent... I mean, that might work if I do this. Is this what I literally just did? No, maybe not. No, is that what I just did? No, it's not. This is different. Okay, so we could give this a try, I suppose. Oh, this one's literally going to be taller than that one. Well, let's just try it anyway. I'm going to do this one real basic, though. I'm just going to do this and then give it an outline. And then yeah, that's going to be way too big. I can already tell that's going to be way too big, but let's just do it for good measure. Very helpful. Thanks for the explanation. You're welcome. You are welcome. Happy to help when I can. I mean, that's not terrible. But I think the smaller one is going to be better. Yeah. I think I'll just go back to the diamond one that I have. Do I want to do anything with this? I may, let's see. Might, because I just threw this together when I started working on this, so I might just try to clean it up a little bit. Well, I don't know if I really succeeded, but that's all right. Let's put the reference back. Let's see. Wonder if I use red there instead. Oh, that actually kind of looks all right. Let's just do something simple. I don't know about this. Yeah. All right. Let's just do that. Wow. It's just hard to get it exactly right. Maybe I've already spent too much time on this. Yeah, okay. It's fine. That's probably good. All right, we'll just call that good and be done with it. I'm gonna redo the outline just in case. Actually, I wonder if the double thick outline is not really serving this well. Let's just do a single outline. Export layers. Maybe the double outline would look better. Yeah, I think that's all right. See what it looks like in game. So I'm hiding the first two horizontal gem decorations. I wonder if that's going to look all right. Yeah, that looks fine. Maybe I'll hide this one too. Yeah, so I'll just use the gem decorations to separate these like content regions. Yeah, I think that will be fine. So let's turn that one off down here. Yeah, I like that. Yep. So they're not here, so it's not overlapping this pattern. It's not here, so it's not overlapping this pattern, and it's not here. The reason I don't do one here is because for larger items, actually, is that still true? Well, in any case, I think it looks all right. I was thinking this vertical bar could sometimes come over this far. Now that I'm thinking about it though, is this, let's see. What does this look like if the name is long? I think if the name is long, it's okay. Add item, lead ingot. Let's make it legendary and see what it looks like. Yeah, that looks fine. What happens if it has a ton of tags? What's an item that has a lot of tags? Well, the training dummy has a lot of tags. Yeah, that looks fine. I mean, yeah. Okay, so the last thing to do with this before, well, there's two things. I want to maybe revisit these corner decoration pieces, but I also want to do that, what I think is going to be improvement on these ones, on the stat windows. But anyway, update gem decoration. All right, let's take a look at the stat window now. So actually, I don't know if I made any changes to this, so I'm just going to copy this over and paste it here again. Oops, I didn't copy it. Paste, there we go. View, let's put this back, view, tiled and x-axis. So what I want to do is I want to, why is that, do you guys see that? There's like a little thing stuck there. Oh no, that's gonna be, that's gonna be annoying. It's okay, it's not a big deal. So the thing about this is that if I bring these down, those are some rather thick pillars. It is 5 across. So I can actually cut this here and cut it there. And get rid of this. What does that end up looking like if I don't tile it? Okay. Okay. So I'm wondering, I mean, what we can do before I go and highlight this is I can take this, copy it, paste it there. I'm going to need to delete it first. There we go. Okay, let's just export that and see if that makes an improvement to the noisiness of it. And then if it does, I will finish highlighting that section. I think that looks great, actually. I think that looks, yeah, that looks a lot less noisy to me. I think I need to fix the arc here, though. So let's go and do that. Love to see these quality of life small detail changes between playtests. Content is cool, but this is the stuff you really notice when it changes. Awesome, yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of like different artwork that I want to touch up and stuff. It's just, you know, I finally have the time to do... What? Uh-oh. I finally have the time to do this kind of stuff, so... Yeah, it feels good. Now, what in the heck? That's probably better. Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm. I think that looks fine. I feel like I'm destroying something. Oops. Ooh, wait a minute. My cat is being a nuisance right now. What else is nuisance? Am I right? Do I want to make this like a more explicit? Oh, that might actually be good. Let's try that. Yeah. I think I like that. Just a little bit of extra detail there. Okay, tiled mode, none. Copy this. Basically delete that. Okay, let's see what happens. Actually, just to be consistent, I want to delete these pixels because I don't have any black in this image. Okay. Let's see how it looks. Oh yeah. Yep. I'm thinking that's what I thought. That looks pretty good. There's this part here which is highlighted, which is not ideal. But because this tiles, so I may actually want to do this as a single texture because I don't know if I want this highlighting here. But maybe it's not that big of a deal. I do like that better. I like that presentation a lot better, but yeah, I wonder, should I just do this as a singular texture? Is there a problem with that? So if I do it as a singular texture, basically what I would do, I think, is I would just delete this line here, just clean that up, and I would delete this one over here as well. It wouldn't technically be perfectly symmetrical then, but I think think those things need to be cleaned up because otherwise it just looks like this looks great. These pillars here, I think that looks great. But yeah, this extra little noise here. Yeah. Okay, so do I want to do this? Ah, shoot. I think I'm going to have to do this as a standalone texture. Well, we can do that. I mean, let me commit what I have. And let's just go ahead and do that. So we've got the stat window here. This is going to break everything, but that's okay. So let's grab this. We're going to do 1. Okay, so that's 4 across. Now, wait a minute. Is that right? Did I mismeasure this? Oh. I see what I did. I made it bleed out 1 pixel. So if I was going to do this correctly, so this actually needs to be, I should measure this, but I think that edge needs to go away. And then let me just make sure that I'm measuring this correctly. So we've got the HBox container. This is what? Size 191. That's good. That's the number that I want to see by 47. So let's see if I measured this correctly. So if we do, this is 191 by 47. Good. Okay. So we're just going to put a background on that. And then what I'll do here is I'm going to take, let's merge this down. Stat window. I'm just going to delete this whole part. And then over here, same deal. So it's not technically symmetrical now, which kind of actually bothers me a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be noticeable. The important thing is cleaning up that noise. So now what I'm going to need to do is I actually need to basically remove the texture from here. So this texture rect, wherever that is. Oh, this is using, no, it's a Sprite 2D. Oh, it's a Sprite 2D. Well, that's fine. So we just get rid of that. We keep it the same size that it is, 47 by 47. And this HBox container should continue to work. So what I can do now is I think I can just export this. We'll just export that as just a singular sprite. And then inside of this stats container, we can do a texture rect here. And we can do this stat window. There we go. And I think I just want to do keep. Stretch mode keep. Okay. That looks much nicer, actually. And everything should still be aligned. So that was a case where I was trying to make something tile with multiple discrete instances, but I ended up needing more control over the presentation. So baking it as a single texture ended up being the right approach. Yeah, that looks much nicer. Very cool. So that got rid of that noisiness on the borders there. Yeah. I dig it. I dig it. Are we done? Oh, I wanted to change maybe the corners a little bit, these corner parts. I might do something, I have an idea for something simpler I want to do for that. Panel inner decoration. I'm going to do something, yeah, I'm going to do something simpler. Are you working on Alchemortis? I am. Alchemortis is my game. Why, did you see it somewhere? The Little Warrior, welcome, by the way. Zelda Techie. Funny, I distinctly remember you saying something about remembering that you offset by 1 pixel the other day. It is what it is. Yeah, that's true. Also, hello, watching your stream while coding myself. Awesome. Welcome, Zelda. Good to have you here. Good to have everyone here. I like doing these little chill art streams because it doesn't require too much brain power from me. And then hopefully I'm getting low on like my to-do list of things that I need to do for the preparation of the demo. So hopefully the streams will be more content oriented coming up in the future. Well, I thought I was going to like that, but maybe not. Oh, that cat. The cat is going to be the end of me. He's just scratching at my door. He wants to come in. I don't like that either. Well, I thought I had a good idea for this, but maybe I don't. It goes like that, I guess. Well, I have no idea what I just drew. Let's just see what it looks like. Scripts, export layers. Oh, did I commit? Oh, shoot, I didn't commit what I had. Okay. I've been meaning to commit each step along the way, so let's do this. Oops. Okay. Date stat window. Yeah, I've been tracking with your devlogs for a bit now, but this is the first stream of yours I've caught. I'm also working on my own Godot project while watching this. Awesome. Off to give the kids some crap as per my responsibility as a father. Catch you later. All right, sounds good. All right, thanks for joining, Ninja Link. How do I get good at pixel art for color palette art? Well, we're already in a good spot with the limited palette. And then, yeah, it's just practice. What I would recommend is look at other artists who work with limited palettes. And just see how they use the colors and see how they shade things and see how they use negative space and everything. Oh my gosh. Here's the one that won't stop meowing. What are you doing? What are you doing? But yeah, I think it's just a matter of like, the other thing is, in addition to the limited color palette, also use a limited canvas size. Like even something like 16 by 16 or 32 by 32 can help a lot. The main thing that you want to think about is like constraints. I found that when I'm learning, especially pixel art, like having constraints helps a lot when you're trying to just figure out how to draw things correctly. Meanwhile, it took an hour and a half to design a single button. Yeah. Starting somewhere on a blank canvas is always daunting. Yeah. Well, that's why, like, the reason why it's daunting is because there's so many possibilities, right? And so that's why I think constraints help, is because it narrows all the possibilities down to a very like small set. So, you know, if you don't limit your color palette, then you're in a situation where like you've got whatever millions of colors to choose from, and you draw something that doesn't look good, and now you don't know, like, does it not look good because I represented the shapes incorrectly? Does it not look good because I didn't draw my lines well? Does it not look good because I chose the wrong colors, right? Like there's so many variables at play that it can be hard to narrow down, like, what did I actually not do well at with this piece of art? Another thing is like, oh, I chose a canvas size that's too big, and so like the amount of detail that is required to make something look good on this canvas size is outside of my skill level, and then you're just like fighting an uphill battle, right? So if you start with like 16 by 16 or 32 by 32 and you use a limited color palette, you're like chopping off millions of possibilities and like creating a more focused learning environment for yourself. And so that when you go and you try to draw something with a 4-colored palette, you can't really say, oh, well, it doesn't look good because I chose the colors wrong. It might be the case that it doesn't look good because you used the colors wrong, but it's not going to be the colors themselves that are the problem, right? So yeah, I think it's a good... Aren't you also said artist? Just make a blob or a cube like Blender. Anyway. Okay, so back to this. Yeah, that does not... I mean, that looks... Let me see. I have to edit the theme now. I wonder if I should just do nothing for the corners. I wonder if that's an option. Why does that still not look right? Oh. Do I want to do something like that? Does that look good or no? Actually, that doesn't look bad. But I don't quite like that. What the heck did I just do? Okay. I think I'm going to try to go for a more subtle corner decoration. Maybe even something like that. I'll shade this later, but I just want to see what this looks like. That may actually just be it. That may be what I want to do. Just something very simple, very subtle. Just something to fill out the corners a little bit. Yeah, maybe that's okay, actually. Let's see. Artists that use limited palette. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I mean, I'm using a limited palette right now. For sure. I mean, the advice that I'm giving you is advice that I myself followed. And I have a video on the channel that basically goes over that exact advice. But yeah, like the constraints. I think the constraints are the big thing. you want to give yourself some limitations. Well, I don't know. Let's just see. Yeah, this is not correct. I just want something subtle, that's all. Did I do this wrong? I'm gonna lose my mind. Okay. Yeah, I guess I just have to shade these individually. That's all right. Because again, the light is coming from the top right. So I just want to make sure that I'm doing this correctly. So we do like this. Yeah, something like that. And then down here. Yeah, let's see how that looks. So put this there, put that there, put that one there, that one there, that one there. Oops. Okay, I think that looks pretty good actually. It's a little bit more subtle. It adds some more detail. Yeah, I think that looks good. I don't have any complaints about that. So yeah, what I like about that is it takes up a lot less space, but it still just adds a little bit of detail to the corners there. Yeah. I think we'll go with that. Cool. I like how this turned out. I think we're done. I think that's it for the drawer, the card inspector UI. Did I succeed? What do you guys think? Let's see. Did I succeed in my goal of making it less noisy? If I could figure it out. There we go. Let me see if I can get this on the screen. Oh, am I not going to be able to show the whole thing? Well, that's all right. What do you guys think? Did I succeed in cleaning it up a little bit, making it look a little bit more like the rest of the game? Trying to make a 16 by 16 man, and I'm already struggling with the proportions. Yeah, that can happen. It's a good practice to make sprites 16 pixels and 32 pixels each. The most important thing is the proportionality, right? So like, I think for practice, like 16 and 32, that's fine, right? But when you're actually making a game, it may be the case that your character doesn't fit exactly in one of those dimensions. But the main thing is like the proportionality, right? So like you want to make sure that everything is drawn relative to each other such that it looks coherent and cohesive, right? So like what I'll do is I will, like when I'm going to mock up the game or trying to decide like what the art should be, I first pick a canvas size for my screen resolution, like 640 by 360. And then what I'll do is I'll like go and draw like my character on that screen somewhere. And then I'll draw like, maybe I'll like, you know, mock up a couple of enemies, and I'll just kind of like try to get the sizes and the relationships between the sizes working. And then basically I just use the character as a reference point for everything else that I'm drawing. So you'll see me often when I'm working on Alchemortis too, what I'll do is I'll take a screenshot of my game, and then I'll start just like drawing with everything else in context so I can see how the size looks in relation to everything else, etc. So, you know, this is art. It's not a science, right? It's not like you should use X size over Y size or whatever. The important thing is that everything looks and feels consistent. That's the main thing. if you want, you can certainly give a rule to yourself to say all of the characters need to fit within a 16 by 16 canvas. That is something that you can do for sure, but it doesn't have to be the case. I'm set for my canvas size is 240 by 160. Gotcha. All right, well, I think I'm going to end the stream there. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for being here. Let me actually just check this one thing. Make sure all these are good. Yeah. Okay. So thank you all for watching. Thank you for being here. Very much appreciate that. If you're interested, you can wishlist Alka Mortis on Steam. I would appreciate that. Give it a wish list. The demo will be coming out relatively soon, so if you're on the wish list, you will get notified when the demo goes live. Of course, the demo will have all these art updates and everything, so if you want to download the demo and see how it looks in game, that'd be cool. Otherwise, yeah, I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll be back here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern for more Alka Mortis development, so I hope to see you there. All right, have a good night or evening or morning, everyone, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.